Hi, guys. Welcome back to Enlightened Awakening, episode number 9. Today, I have Blanca Rodriguez on the show. Blanca is a wounded healer, a life coach, and author of the book Impact Leadership, and she's a podcaster. Not she has a podcaster, she is. Welcome, Blanca.
Thank you so much for having me. What a joy it is for me to do this.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on the
Of course.
show.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Love being here.
Yes. So tell us, first of all, what is a wounded healer?
Of course. Us wounded healers, we are individuals that as part of going through traumatic experiences, growing up in very difficult seasons of our lives, we use these experiences as fuel and it enables us to help others improve their quality of life no matter what age we are. That is a wounded healer. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I think probably the vast majority of Gen Xers are probably wounded. If you
I
were born
relate.
between 1965 and 1980, you're most likely wounded. And you
Yep.
might want to reach out to Blanca to get some.
I agree. Amen to that. Coming over, Gen X's, I'm here for you. You won't be disappointed.
Right. Okay. So, what life events led you on this path to become a wounded healer?
Yes, I grew up. I am Puerto Rican from Puerto Rican parents, of course. And after the tragic passing of my father when I was 8 years old, and my mother, after his passing, my mother went into a deep depression and she never recovered from it. Of course, later in life, we knew that, and that's when all the dots came together. We knew that we were growing up with a mother that she has chronic, untreated mental illness. These were the days back in the early 70s, the days when talking about mental health, talking about mental illnesses was totally taboo. You will never talk about it. And with
Mm,
my tragic passing of my father, it was another cultural abuse that it was committed against us, the families in grief. We were told not to talk about the dead. You will be like, shh, you don't talk about the dead. So trying to understand grief, loss, trauma, it really led me into a world of low self esteem, low self worth, shame, and many other things that really impacted my life in the most negative ways that there can be. I grew up in an environment where everything was unstable, everything was unpredictable. And yes, my mother did the best that she could with the little tools that she had, but she hardly had any tools. She herself, she grew up in extreme poverty, so she learned to survive with whatever she had on hand, which was not much either. So for that, I honor her tremendously because she made the decision that her kids will never go through the poverty that she did. She will go barefooted to school and so on and so forth. So she had a very, very hard life. But coming back to her as a mother, mom was very unstable. Mom was carrying her own demons within her. She didn't have the proper tools to help her heal, grow, do much better for herself and those around her. And it was a very difficult time. And 2/3 of all children will have a traumatic experience by the time they reach the age of 15, whether it is the traumatic passing of a loved one, being bullied by family members, or at school, and or being sexually assaulted. I went through all of these by the time I was 9 years old. And yes, I had to go through all that grief, loss, shame, confusion because I was not only brokenhearted by the tragic passing of my dad, but I was broken because of being violated when I didn't understand what inappropriate touch meant because it was, here we go again, it was the
right.
quiet silent times And I grew up around that. I grew up in shame. I grew up in loss. I grew up as having self destructive patterns. And then it came a time in my life when I say, okay, I either turn this around, grow, learn the lesson, help others with my experience, my story of silence, of falling deep into that very dark rabbit hole that and many times in my life, I really I didn't find the way out because I didn't have the tools to find my way out. I didn't have the help. I thought out of shame, because I live in a lot of shame because of sexual assault repeatedly by many faces, I thought that I was not worth anybody's time. So when I decided
Mhm.
to turn it around, the first thing that I really got out of my very bad comfort zone was to seek help, to ask for help and support from the professionals, because family members, they never knew anything about what my ordeal was. I expressed everything through a chapter of my book at age 52. So it was 47 years of me living in a world of silence. No,
Mm.
my family, my friends, they didn't know my true story until I wrote it down and I said, okay, it's time to come out of my shell in the biggest way possible and really help others through my story of falling down, going down that rabbit hole, being through those very, very dark seasons, and finding the way with persistence, resilience, stepping into my power, and never giving up, coming out to the other side. And if I did it at a later age in life, because I started my journey into something better for my life in my 30s when I became a mother. And that was the aha moment for me, because I said to myself, my kids are going to have a better upbringing than I did. I'm going to create something here that's going to be special. I'm going to have a bond. I want to like plant that seed and make that beautiful tree of love, commitment, understanding, communication flourish, and let this be the rooting of our relationship for the rest of our lives, for the rest of my life as well. And I can tell you now that in that aspect, as a mother, yes, I have succeeded. I have full grown adult kids that they want to be with me. They want me to be part of their lives till this day, being full grown adults, independent. They don't depend on me for anything, but they want to come to visit me and they want me to come visit them. And that's a beautiful thing. And part of being a wounded healer is exactly that, understanding that my wounds are not my fault, but the healing is my responsibility. And that is definitely where the concept of wounded healer came out, besides being enabled by my own experiences to help others improve their quality of life. And that's the biggest mission that I have for the rest of my life, definitely.
Aw. Well, I'm so glad that you came out on the other side of all this.
Thank you.
Yes, healing and helping others. That's just beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Did you
it makes my heart happy, definitely.
Yes, yes. Did you, grow up in the United States? Did your parents come here when you were little or
Well, my parents came, especially my father. My father married my mother, and he was a math teacher in Puerto Rico, but he that wasn't enough for him. And he told my mother, pack it up. We're going to New York City in search for the American dream. So him, my uncle, and various friends, they all in a group, they went to New York City in search for something much better than what Puerto Rico had to offer at that time. And I'm so grateful that my father really conquered the American dream. He had three businesses. He owned the apartment building where we used to live in Brooklyn. And unfortunately, his life was taken in his place of work. He had a jewelry store, and that's when tragedy hit. But yeah, he definitely did conquer the American dream. He was a very giving person, a very, very good soul. I honor him all the way to this day. It's been 51 years that he's been gone. And he is still remembered by many. He's still loved by many. And of course, a lot of people have died since then because he would have been 95 years old at this moment. But I didn't know that he had two funerals. He was so loved that he had one funeral in New York City and another one in Puerto Rico. And I learned about this much later in life when I was a full in my 40s. And I was like, wow, isn't that something remarkable of how much of a mark someone can leave behind, how much of a legacy of love, giving, compassion, funny, because I learned funny at home. My father was an extremely funny, sarcastic, oh my God, good ass Puerto Rican man, always making a joke out of everything. And my mother really tapped along and she was funny herself. So it was great to say, it's like, okay, where do you learn funny? I learned funny from home. So that aspect of my life, it was my life before my father's passing and my life after my father's passing. So it was like a whole different thing, one from the other. And that aspect of my life, though, I mean, the short time that I had my father in my life, I am blessed and happy that we had it, definitely. And it's a great thing to turn it around from not understanding grief and always being angry and sad. And for years, I was asking my father, it was questions that will never be answered, but I will be like, why do you leave me with her? Why do you leave me with her? And then just to turn it around many years later, because this is a big, big aspect of the healing journey and is turning it from all that negativity, from all that confusion, sadness, grief, shame, loss, anger, because I was really angry. I turned it, it's like, no, I'm gonna, how about start celebrating the time that I had with him? How about start honoring the man that he used to be, because he was a wonderful dad, a wonderful provider, and he was very loving. Definitely, he was a workaholic, but whenever I had time with my father, it was full of very precious moments, and that is something that I will keep in my heart for as long as I live.
Was your mom happy when your dad was alive?
Yes, yes, she was much happier when he was alive. I know that the balance that she needed to the best of her ability, he provided that. He provided stability. He provided a good rooting, a great foundation to what a stable household is. And then my father being the great provider that he was, she didn't suffer from any necessities. She didn't lack of anything. It was from rags, literally, for to what she felt it was riches, because before my
Mm.
father, she was living, she was struggling, and yeah, she started climbing the ladder herself out of poverty, but the road was long, it was horrible, and she had her mother that depended on her. So she was trying to provide for herself, for her mother, and she never stopped struggling until my father came along. She married him. They teamed up. They came to the US in search of the American dream, and they did conquer the American dream, because while my mother was taking care of the household at home, of course, it was the time that when dad went to work and mom stayed at home with the kids. And
Mhm.
they really, really achieved that dream because there was no necessity, there was no struggle. It was really, really a successful marriage and a successful lifestyle that they really did conquer together. But once my father passed, everything crumbled down. And thankfully, my
Mm.
father was really, really smart to leave life insurance policies. I mean, the man, he had it everything down to the T, where we didn't suffer any necessities ever again. But the aspect of a stable household, a happy household, that was really, really, it was the upper of the up and then come crashing down. And it was
Mm.
it was continuously consistently, all the time, all the time, all the time. And no, no sibling was, nobody was spared here. It's, I'm the youngest of three siblings, and all of us three siblings can say it's like, was anybody spared from this craziness? No, no, that never happened. Everybody had their, definitely their part of this, and it's very sad. And you know, this is when forgiveness is so important. This is when healing these very deep wounds is so important. And the most important thing is to forgive and go, get out of our bubble of being the victim, because I was my mother's victim for a very long time and it never worked out for me. It's like, how long am I going to be a victim, someone's victim? How long am
Mhm.
I going to be blaming others for the untreated childhood trauma that I carried with me over and over for decades and decades until change happened? This very powerful inspirational speaker, his name was Jim Rohn. He used to say, life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. And that is a
Mm.
phrase that I keep with me really, really close to my heart, because he was absolutely right. No doubt about that. Once we seek the change that we deserve to have, things will really, really be seen from a different lens. And my mother and I, we forgave each other many years ago. And now that I see things from the broader spectrum, it's like, wow, my mother was brave enough to carry all those demons that were following her wherever she went. Starting with the demon of chronic untreated mental illness. She is 93 years old now. She's got advanced
Mhm.
stages of dementia. But when the days that she feels a little bit better, she tries to be useful. She tries to wash the dishes that, of course, they stay dirty. But my sister is her caretaker, and she tells me, "Oh my God, just yesterday my mom was on the hospital, and today she's trying to wash the dishes." What the heck is that about? Resiliency and not giving up, not giving up. And this woman will not go out without a fight. And that is something that I learned from my mother. Never go out without a fight, because this is exactly what she did since she was a little kid. And that is something to really appreciate and honor from her in the midst of all this confusion, craziness, instability, grief, violence, because my mother was a very violent woman as well. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, she was very violent. She was emotionally violent. She was physically violent. And this is the time when there was no such thing as like, oh, if somebody whacked you with a belt, it's okay. What did you do? So it was those times. I mean, I got whacked with a belt. I got whacked with, oh my God, the guava tree. Oh, you take a branch from the guava tree. Oh my God, that is the most
Oh,
horrible, burning, painful sensation that is with a branch. If somebody gets hit with some stick of a branch, the guava tree, run. Don't walk away from that. Run. I had,
right. Welts.
yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, those were the
Wow. That's
times when and it was okay. It was the time that it was okay. Nobody will get into no trouble. Today is a whole different story, thank goodness. That is a whole different ball game, it's a whole different mindset. But back in our day, it's like, okay, just like you said, oh, these Gen Xers, oh yeah.
yeah.
We all have
Belts,
a story like
guys.
that. Oh yeah.
Belts, fists.
Right,
Like,
right. Exactly. Oh my God. Absolutely. Yep. And we're
right.
still here for a reason. And I think these stories are great to share with as many people as possible, especially the younger generation. So somebody out there can say, like, wow, I think I have it by pretty easy, with these people saying the stories as they say. And yeah, this is the purpose of
Absolutely.
this, to have an awakening, to be enlightening. It's like, okay, be enlightened by the stories and the messages that are being brought to you, because this is true. This is my story. And like I have my story, there's so many other people that have a similar story, or even a more intense one. Is anything is
That's that's why Gen Xers are the bridge generation. We bridge the time that you and I grew up in where stuff like that was happening. I mean, things are so different now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And
Without a doubt.
yeah,
Without a doubt.
we were the beginning catalyst for change. Like we raised our children
Yes.
very differently because
Absolutely.
of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My son is 26 and my daughter is 23. And of course, they're the younger generations, but they grew up in a very good way. Like, you pay your way, you look for
Mhm.
a way to make it work because you're not going to have mommy to take care of you for the rest of your life. And yes, I am here for you. And yes, I'll never leave you behind. I'll never leave you be in a horrible circuit situation because no, I'm here for you. But
Right.
you are meant to be, you're meant to put that seed and build your own foundation for your own life and what your life is going to be.
What are your siblings like? Cuz I know me and my siblings are very different.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, growing up in that crazy situation,
Mhm.
and we are so different when it comes to our parenting styles, especially.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, my sister, I think in a way, my sister was very smart. My sister never had kids. She made that decision that she never wanted to have kids, but she lives in Puerto Rico right now and she's my mother's caregiver. I live here in the
mm,
US and my brother lives here in Florida as well. My brother, on the other hand, he is a pretty successful man. He has a family. He is a good guy, definitely, and he has bipolar disorder and obsessive compulsive behavior. Okay, so he's got
mm,
obsessive compulsive behavior, and he's very open about it. He is very communicative about it. So this is when we learn from silence on what to do and what to make different about these situations. And my brother, even though he has his own issues with mental health, he is a professional. He makes six figures. He has a very progressive lifestyle, and he is doing very, very well in the midst of having his own situations. And my sister is my mother's caregiver, so that is a load of work right there because my mom has dementia, and me, well, I'm the wounded healer. So what one thing that all three of us have in common is that we're very hardworking people. But on the other hand, the lifestyles, oh, us three, we are totally different people when it comes to lifestyle, when it comes to family matters, when it comes to all of those things. Definitely, I cannot agree with you more. It's like, okay, how, what do we have in common? Yes, we do have these similarities, but on the other hand, it's like, wow, we are like, I mean, like planets away. It's like I am from Earth and you are from Jupiter because
right.
everybody is
I
different.
feel like I could be wrong, but it seems like a group of people who go through the same exact traumatic experiences together are going to have vastly different outcomes.
Very true. Very true. Very true. And you know what? I have a good relationship with my brother, but we have a long distance relationship. Even though we live in the same state, there's things that we do have in common, but there's other things that we really don't. And there's no right or wrong. I don't consider it to be wrong because everybody is their
Mhm.
own individual. But yeah, we have most likely a pretty long distance relationship. Now, my sister and me, my sister is my girl. She is my girl. She's my person. She's my rock. She's my best friend. So me and my sister, we are like glued to each other, even though we live so far away from each other. We call each other almost
Yeah.
every single day. But with my brother, it's a whole different ballgame. That's for sure. And I love my brother very much, but it's just the way it is. There's no animosity, and this is like kind of strange because there's
Yeah.
no animosity. We're not mad at each other. It's just the way that we flow in this life.
I feel
I
like girls like to be connected more so than guys in general.
so
So
true.
guys are like more comfortable doing their own thing
Oh, yeah,
and not yeah, it's a girl thing. I think it's the
absolutely.
way we're built.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true. So true. Absolutely.
So, did you have a near death experience?
Yes. I did. I did. I was 10 years old. We were at a beach outing when in Puerto Rico, when there's very big families like mine. I had 27 cousins from one side of the family, 20 some more from the other side of the family. So we would do big family gatherings, and the most cheapest way to go was going to the beach. So we would go to the beach. We were there. And I remember it was a reef, right? And I was holding myself from rocks. And I was just
A
being
coral reef
coral reef, yeah. Being
in Puerto Rico?
yeah, being
It's
me, the
beautiful down there.
yes, yes, it really is.
Mhm.
Being the adventurous self that I am, and not needing anybody for company, because I don't need anybody to make me company when I go into an adventure. So that was no exception. I was 10 years old. I was going through the coral reef. I was holding on to the rocks, and suddenly there was a rip current. The rip current, it was like something was grabbing me from the feet, pulling me down and pulling me down and pulling me down. And I was struggling to come out and pulling me down. And it came to the time when I was struggling and swallowing water and water and water and not being able to take a breath. And then silence and quiet came in, and I started letting go. And it was one of the most peaceful moments of my life. But then only to feel someone grabbing me by the hair and taking me out of the water.
So it
Yeah.
was only like a split second,
It was
nothing
like
else?
it was I don't know if it was a split second. I don't know if it was more than, I don't even know which amount of time passed between me going into this dark place. I went into a dark space, and I was very calm. It was like, wow, I am so calm in here, but it was so dark. And the next thing I know, it was a fisherman, a young man, that he was fishing by the coral reef. And it seems like he saw me struggling and struggling because I was alone. Nobody else was around
Wow.
me. Yes, yes. Oh my God. God kept me here for a reason, that's for sure. Because I was supposed to go either by drowning or some other ways. But when it came to my near death, definitely that was something that I will never forget as long as I live. Being a little girl, I let go. It was peaceful. This young man, he grabbed me by the hair out of the water, and I mean, the water coming out and coming out and coming out, because I almost drowned. Yeah, yeah. I let it go. I let go. It came to that moment that I couldn't breathe anymore, and I let go. And when he took me out, he started banging me through the back, and I started coughing water and water and water and coughing and coughing. And then I gained my breath back. But that was definitely a very close call in my life. That's for sure.
Wow. Was anything different when after that? When you
After that, I this is what happened. This young man, he brought me to my family with to the gathering where there was a whole bunch of people, and I said something to my mother, and and my mother, she said, "Well, you shouldn't have been alone in the first place," and that was the end of it. Yeah, yeah, she never asked me, "Are you okay? Are you gonna be okay? Do you need to go to the hospital?" That never happened. Definitely never happened. It's like, "Okay, are you okay? You're good? Okay, just lay down, and next time, don't go alone in the water." And that was it. That was
did she know
it.
the extent of what happened? Like,
Well, you know what? I tried, but this is what happens when you feel like you're not gonna be heard anyway. I just kept quiet about it. Yeah. Yeah, and I was coughing, and I was like, "Oh my God!" All that burning sensation of all that salt water that I swallowed and I
mm,
swallowed and I swallowed, and the rest of the beach day was ruined for me because I just went and lay down, and everybody went on with their lives, and I was like, "Well, I guess I'll just keep it to myself, just the same way I have kept everything else to myself." Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
wow.
Hmm. Hmm.
So tell us about your book.
Yes, my book is called Impact Leadership with Blanca Rodriguez. I am available in Amazon, Kindle, and paperback. And this phenomenal collaboration is between myself and 29 other co-authors from all walks of life, from all over the world. And we have very similar stories of falling, going through very difficult situations in our lives, and making it through the other side. And we definitely share something in common. I have met quite a few of these authors, and we definitely have amazing stories to say. And this book is one of resilience, persistence, moving on in life, embracing change, and never ever giving up. And of course, embracing the vulnerable side of us by telling our story to as many people as possible.
Yes, yes. Sharing the story with others is,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the main reason I wanted to start this podcast.
Yes, absolutely. It's a wonderful thing. I'm so happy you're doing this, and I'm happy I'm here.
Yes, and thank you. We had to reschedule a couple times, but
Oh,
yeah, there's like a
and nothing
lot
but
going
here we
on.
are. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. So, what tell us about your podcast. You have a podcast as well, right? Called Wounded Healer Voices.
Yes, I have a YouTube channel called Wounded Healer Voices, and definitely these are stories of people that we went through ups and downs, our good times, our very dark times, and we still make it to the other side. So it's basically people like you, like I, that we are ordinary people with very profound stories to tell to the rest of the world. So I am working thoroughly on that channel to get it up and running. I have already 2 or 3 episodes. I already recorded two, but it was with myself only. But I have one in the works that is with my husband, and we are talking about blended families because he has two adult kids from a previous marriage. I have two kids myself, and we were talking very honestly about the perks, the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly side of blended families. But as long as there's one word called love and respect, meeting halfway and choosing our battles, these relationships can be very, very successful ones like us is, and we're very happy about it. And yes, I dragged him into it because he is there's just someone that he is not a friend of. None of this is my husband. And I said, well, you said yes, so I'm gonna drag you into it. You're not,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
he's
You're not
supporting
gonna back off on me
you.
now.
That's so good. He's
Yeah.
supporting you. What a
Yeah,
good
he is.
husband.
He's a wonderful, wonderful human being, and I hit home run this time. That's for sure. It
Yeah,
took me a
I
lot
would
of
love to come on your show. What
course.
kind of things do you talk about? I mean, you said some of the things that you talk about, but your podcast is a little baby, just like mine here.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
only on.
absolutely.
I mean, I had to pause it for a little bit, but then yeah, I'm only we're episode 9 here, so
That's
we're
awesome. I love
very
it. I
young
love it. And
podcast.
definitely I'm gonna invite you to this because it's basically are stories of falling down, going through dark moments in our lives, and making it to the other side. And definitely picking up these tools, picking up the pieces of our lives, and using it for the better good to help others heal. Because when others heal, it helps us tremendously with our own healing journeys, that is for sure. And it really is an empowering to see the difference between I mean, especially my story that I was so many decades of silence and shame and darkness, and I mean, I was ashamed of so many things, but now it's a whole different story, and I can say openly my story because I know it'll help somebody else. And when it becomes something bigger than myself, and which it has already, It's totally worth it. This is not for gaining anything. This is not for, oh, look at me, I want your attention. It's like, nah, bro. It's not about that. It goes much further. It's much profound than just attention. Is to help others in their
Mhm.
own journeys. Help others understand that if you're living in a world of silence, like I did for so long, try to come out of your shell, get out of your comfort zone, seek help, seek support, because there's always someone out there that will guide you and will help you to go through the right direction and to the right sources to make you feel better, be better, go through the amazing, uncomfortable situation of change and embrace it. Because once these changes really take place, once we really dive into it, embrace it, we will come out of the other on the other side. And the only thing we will do is remember those times. We will never go back to them. We will never go back to where we were. That is for sure. I promise you that.
Right.
Mhm.
So, I guess that is why you became a life coach, right?
Yes.
So you could help other people.
Yes,
So tell us a
absolutely.
little bit about your life coach business. Do folks like join up through your website or
Yes, yes. Most of the life coaching I have done is, I'm very lucky to say that is by referral. And what I help my clients do, the first thing that I offer is accountability partnering. If you have a goal that you want to reach, whether it is physical, at home, financial, emotional, childhood trauma, whatever goal that may be that you need help with, have a life coach. I mean, I have a life coach. I am a holistic life coach, and I have the services of a life coach because I won't go without. Once I met my life coach over 3 years ago, I said, that's it. This is something that I would
Mhm.
love to do as a professional as well, because I'm a licensed massage therapist, and I didn't know that life coaching will have a title until recently. But honestly, I've been life coaching people for a very long time, because when I
Mm,
massage people, a lot of people, they just want to talk and they just want to let it out, to blow some steam, whatever the case may be. And me as a massage therapist, I have always been there to listen to what they say. And if they ask a question, I will answer. But with life coaching, I ask questions and we come together as a team to help this individual improve their quality of life. And yes, is it means the client getting out of their comfort zones to be able to achieve those mini goals or big goals in life. It doesn't matter. Whatever goal is significant for you, and please don't worry about it. It's like, oh, this is silly. No, it's not silly. I have a client that she was having an issue because she wanted to her bag that she will carry with her on a daily basis not to be so big because she has scoliosis. And
ah,
if she carried a bag with too much weight, her scoliosis was getting worse and worse and worse. And I said,
mm,
okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to transition into a very small bag with your wallet, enough space for wallet, keys, cell phone, and that's it. And I helped her transitioning into a smaller purse. And this is, for many, it will be like, that's silly. It's like, no, it's not, because physically and health wise, she needed to go through this change from a huge bag. Oh, I was a fan of a huge bag. I don't use any huge bags anymore. It's not good for my body. Well, I don't use it anymore. So we do what is best for us in the best of our ability. But this lady, she needed help when it came to that, to transitioning from a huge bag full of stuff that she didn't need to a smaller bag with only the bare necessities: one lipstick, keys, cell phone, wallet. Let's see how it goes. It's
To
been
be
3 years.
fair, they kind of program us like that going to
Exactly.
school with all those heavy books they
Oh
give us,
yes. Oh my
and,
God,
that we have to
yes.
carry in the backpacks and
Yes, and all this programming and indoctrination, it can have terrible physical consequences later in life. This woman
yeah,
is
those heavy
63.
textbooks.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God, I remember the book bag that I used to have in elementary school. This bag was bigger than me. Oh my God. I'm 5'3". So I was
Yeah.
a little teeny tiny girl with a huge backpack full of books that is like, oh my God, I cannot believe that I would that I will walk a mile and a half home from school with this huge bag. And yeah, we were definitely conditioned into it. That is no doubt. And for her to transition a whole lifetime, because these are simple things, but if she kept on going to where she was, she would have become a cripple. And no, she didn't want that. So, I mean, things like that. And I have this gentleman that he will have panic attacks. So I've been helping him with his panic attacks and what is the rooting of these attacks. So it's a different approach from person to person. This is not a one size fits all. This is tailored for your individual needs. And that's why life coaching is so good, because it's not only for psychiatry. If you need a psychotherapist, please use it by all means. But life coaching takes it much further than that. It's about faith, fitness, family, fortune, and fun, and how to integrate all of these things to create a harmonious lifestyle. This is when life coaching can really help anybody achieve these very simple tasks and the most important ones as well.
So what's that look like? You have calls once or twice a week, or they
Most of
have
the
you on
time,
speed dial if a situation comes up,
yes,
or
I have all of my clients in WhatsApp, so no matter where they are in the world, if they need my help, we can do a video chat in WhatsApp. I have a client from Puerto Rico, I have another one from Central America, I have this another one in Florida, and wherever they are in the world, if they need help at that moment, we can set something up and hey, I'm here for you. Let's video chat for 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it's all about accountability partnering. And it's all about my clients understanding that they are not alone through their process. So
Mm.
if, so to speak, they will slip and not feel well, it's like, no, come on over, call me, I am here. You're not alone. And that makes them feel really, really in a safe space. Yeah. Yeah. And my life coach, he is like that as well. He's like, okay, we are in WhatsApp, and no matter where I am or no matter where he is like, if you need anything, I'm here. And like, that's a beautiful thing to feel that sense of security, the sense of safety, that you have someone that will be there for you unconditionally. And it's a beautiful thing.
Is there a certification that you have to get, or do life coaches just
Yes,
yeah?
yes. I did a certification with the Anthony Robbins group, and it was an investment, definitely, but an investment that it was worth every single penny. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
definitely got intensive training on this, and it's very much needed. And for those of you, the audience, that are interested in becoming a life coach, please go to the best sources of information. And I mean, as clients as well, remember that if someone had training that it cost them $200 to become a life coach, that's all the service that you're going to get, $200 worth of life coaching. And no, I paid 10 grand. Yeah, for a life
Oh,
coaching.
wow.
Coaching certification, yeah. But it was worth it because it's something that I take with me everywhere I go in life. Is something, and many of these tools I apply to myself as well. So when I don't have my coach available, it is a great help to keep the harmony going, keep with the flow, because we know there's a high tide and there's a low tide, and there will be situations because life gets lifing. Let's face it. But what you're gonna do with the hard situations, that is when the tools that are handed over, you
Mhm.
either pick them up and use them or not. And this is when life coaches, we help you not only pick up the tools to make it better for yourself, but keep using those tools even when your days are fantastic, because that's how we build
Mhm.
habits. we are beings of habits. So this in this human experience, we are not without being building habits or letting go of habits. So yes, it's very important to build new habits that will help us improve ourselves rather than take us down the drain.
Right.
Mhm.
So, um, if I read this correctly, you're a cancer survivor as well?
No, I
Oh, okay.
I had some skin cancer on my back,
Uh-huh.
but thankfully it was removed properly and nothing else has been happening. For 4 years, I shaved my head. My hair is hardly starting to grow now. This is the longest it has been in 4 years. And this is what I did. My hair was really long, beautiful, like your hair. And
Oh,
oh
that's
yeah, yeah, you have beautiful hair.
thank you.
And I shaved my head and I gave my hair to pediatric cancer patients. And
Oh.
then immediately after that, that was when I turned 55. I'm 59 now. And I immediately knew after that that my beloved friend's daughter, she had breast cancer. And I told to my friend, I am not going to let my hair grow until either your daughter gets cancer free or whatever the case may be. Unfortunately, she passed away on Labor Day weekend. She was 34 years
Mhm.
old only, and this is a platform that is way too close to me because I have dear family members that they passed from cancer. My beloved friend's daughter, she was very, very young, and it all started with breast cancer, and it ended up going to her brain through her lungs, and she lost the battle. So this is why anytime, any kind of platform that helps people bring awareness of how important it is to exercise prevention from these sicknesses, is very important to use these tools appropriately, no matter what age you are, because this young woman was only 34 years old when she died, and her ordeal started when she was 30 years old. Extremely
Mm.
young, gone too soon, and yes, yes, very, very important to communicate and let the masses know how important it is to check yourself out. And it was, I mean, this young woman, it was out of her checking her breasts that she said, oh, I feel something here. And it was a tumor that it was the size of a tennis ball, actually. So it was huge. So yes.
Ooh.
And unfortunately she passed. Yeah.
Mm. Oh. Wow, this has been I really have enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Anybody who would like to reach out to Blanca, here are her socials and how you can get a hold of her, besides her website that we have had up on the screen as well. And everything is all the links are in the show notes, guys. So you can check everything out.
Mhm.
So I have two questions that I like to ask all my guests. And the first one is, what does the meaning of life mean to you?
To me, the meaning of life is getting up in the morning and being inspired by what you do, being willing to give, being willing to be of service, being willing to do your best. And that is a very, very important part. Do your best and always wake up inspired with what you're going to do with your day, your week, and the rest of your life. Be inspired, please.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
And the second one is, if you had a piece of profound advice that you could give to our listeners and watchers that could potentially be life changing in work or business, what would that be?
Don't let your past define your present. Don't let your past define your future. Learn from the failures, learn from falling down, because it takes failure to reach success. That's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, we have a thing we say in my, community, in my work community, and that is fail forward.
Yes, ma'am. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fail
And
forward.
I happened to stumble across a Game of Thrones clip the other day, and, it was Jon Snow, and he was speaking to Sir Davos, was it? And he was like, "But I did this, I did that, I did all these things, I gave it my all, and I failed." And he's like, "Good, now go fail again."
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Just remember, people, with success, failure is always included. That's for sure. Mhm.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. I wanna thank you so much for
Oh,
coming on the show.
thank you so much for having me. What an honor to be here, definitely.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, and hang back afterwards, and, we'll have a little chat before we part ways, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Absolutely.